Good morning everybody. So today I want to talk about my favorite shots I got this year and the memories that go with them. Let's go! This year was filled of adventures, so I started by moving for 8 months in Vancouver, and from there I could go to Whistler a few times, I visited the Rockies, I went down to the US West Coast, and much more. All of this meant that I had more opportunities to take better shots this year. For those who don't know me yet, I'm Bellemare-Alford, a young photographer and filmmaker on a journey to become better at this art. So if you want to follow this adventure, be sure to hit the big subscribe button right below. So I got my first shot only a few days after getting to Vancouver, and I remember walking around with my friend and seeing this nice bright yellow building on Granville Island, with the harbor in front and the cityscape in the background. So I decided to test my new ND filter, ND 1000 filter, to get this nice smooth water in the foreground of the picture and also the buildings in the background. And I think it really came out nice with the nice reflection of the city in the water and the boats being perfectly sharp. So for the second shot, it's a shot of Science World at night with fog all around. And I remember that night being in my living room and just running outside when I saw that fog came out on the street. And it's actually really hard to tell how special this scene was without showing how it looked like during the day. So here's a video of what it looked like during the day, and you can see it's already pretty nice with Falls Creek around and Science World there, but it's nothing as special as the fog all around. So if you look at another video of the same place but at night, you can see it's completely different. It's not at all the same scene as during the day. I don't know if you can see right now, but it's totally crazy. There's fog everywhere. Usually we can pretty well see the downtown right down me. It's Falls Creek, and usually we have a good view on the skyline. But right now there's just dark and fog everywhere. It's really, really crazy. I decided to go with this a little bit more blue look because when I was there, I felt like it was a scene out of something like Blade Runner, not at all your normal just Vancouver cityscape at night. So I wanted to give this look a little bit more futuristic, and that's why I decided to use split tone lighting for the first time and to bring out the blue, which is not the natural color of the picture for sure. My third shot is a shot of Tofino's harbor, and I actually have it on the wall right here. So let me take it down. And as you can see, I think it really shows what Tofino is all about. So Tofino is surrounded by water, so for sure we have the water here. And this is a nice little harbor right beside Tofino, and the Mears Islands, which are one of the main attractions around Tofino. So I think it really shows a lot of things that we would see in Tofino in this shot. And one thing I was really scared, it's a long exposure, and I was scared that the dock here that's moving a little bit would not come out nice. But I think in the end, it's a good thing that's moving a little bit because it shows that the water has movement in it. And that's one thing that sometimes you lose with a long exposure. One thing that's missing in this shot is surfing, but I actually did a video about it. So on a trip there with my sister. So if you want to see that, the link is going to be right here in the corner. So my fourth shot is a shot of the Golden Gate Bridge, and I knew this would be a highlight of my trip, but I didn't know I would be taking so many shots there. I actually took something like 250 shots during 2 days, which is totally crazy, but the bridge was just nice from whatever angle I was. So I took a few the night before, and they actually came out not too bad. They're actually pretty cool, and the one with the cars passing by, with the long exposure of the cars passing by, is actually pretty good looking. But these are not the ones that I preferred. I actually have a few printed out. So one of the first ones is this one. I decided to put the bridge a little bit smaller in the center here and at the bottom of the shot, just because we're not used to having it there, because the rocks in the bottom were a bit too distracting. And I wanted to have a lot of white space around to really bring your eye on the bridge right here. So this is the first one I got. And after I have a second one here with the rocks that we can actually see. So this one is pretty nice with the rocks here, the water that's a little bit more smooth with the long exposure, and the bridge again, not huge. I always want to take it a little bit smaller because I want to bring your eyes to the bridge and show the surroundings, not just the bridge. But these are not my two preferred shots. In the end, my shot that I preferred is actually a very simple one. So if we look at this one right here, it's actually out of luck that I got this one. So we were walking back, I was done. I already took like something 200 shots that morning. So I was like, I'm done for the day. But when walking back, I just turned around and I saw the bridge perfectly centered between these two rocks. So this really brings your eyes on the bridge. And what I think is really interesting here is that you don't need to see the whole bridge for you to know that's the Golden Gate Bridge, because it's such an iconic place that anybody knows that this is the bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, without having to see the whole shot. So this is a nice, simple shot that really brings your eye into the subject, which is here, the Golden Gate Bridge. My fifth picture is a shot of Vancouver at night, and I actually went out that night to take pictures of the fireworks, but when coming back home, I decided to stop along Falls Creek to take different shots of the city at night, and most of them came out pretty well, but the one that I prefer is the one that's just as before, with the yellow building, the city in the background, and the harbor in the front. So this is one of my preferred locations to take pictures in Vancouver, and if you want to learn about the other ones, I'm going to have a video that's going to come out soon, so be sure to subscribe to this channel to be notified when it comes out. So picture number 6 is a picture from my trip in the Rockies, and it's actually not my best one this year because the cloud's a little bit weird, the light is not as best as it could be on the mountains, but it's still a really nice one because the location is just amazing. But it's actually really hard in pictures, and that's one thing I realized this year, is it's really hard to show the scale of these mountains inside of pictures. Because when you look at a shot like this one, you think, okay, they do look like big mountains, but you don't really realize that these are 2,000 meter high, and they're really impressive when you get right in front of them. I also have a video that's coming up about this trip, so stay tuned for that one. Shot number 7 is a picture of the forest on fire. And this is actually crazy because it was the last day of our trip and we're telling ourselves how lucky we were not to have any wildfires during the whole trip. And then when we were approaching our Airbnb, we realized there was a fire and we were telling ourselves it's not going to be close to where we stay. But it actually ended up being right in front of our Airbnb. We were pretty lucky because there was a river between us and the fire was already under control, so it wasn't a problem for us to stay there. But I actually made really cool shots, and my preferred one is the one at night because it was actually really impressive. It's hard to see on the picture, but it was actually really impressive to see the light and the burning forest at night. So the picture number 8 is actually one of the craziest days I had last year, because we decided to go to Whistler and buy a $78 ticket to go up the gondola to the top to see the views, and realized when getting to the top we didn't see anything at all. It was completely covered with fog and the clouds, so we just couldn't see anything. At the beginning we were a little bit disappointed, but it ended up being one of the best days for me to take pictures. So I actually got these really nice shots that we can see here of the gondolas. Normally it's a pretty boring shot with the forest in the background, but here the fog just adds so much to the shot that it really makes it nice. I also got this one of the forest and the mist in between, and I really like mist in this context because it really adds depth to the picture. So if it was only the forest that we would see, we wouldn't get this sense of depth and these layers of forest that we can see with the fog or the clouds being inside of the forest. So this is a really nice shot that I really like. But then there's also this one. So this one really shows what was happening that day. So we were going up the chairs and not even knowing where we were going. We had no idea what was around. And I really like this one. We don't even know if we're going up and down, which really shows what we were feeling that day. So my preferred shot is actually the most simple one that I took during the day. And it's just the fog here on the bridge. So it really shows what we were feeling that day, that it was that when we were walking around, we wouldn't see anything in front of us or around us. And here you just see the path going forward, our eyes following the path when you look at this picture, and it just disappears. There's nothing. And that's exactly what we had during the day, and that's exactly what we were feeling when we were looking around that day. So I really think this really shows the emotions we were getting during that day and the feelings we had when walking around at the top of Whistler in clouds. So also one thing to learn is that even if the weather is terrible, never decide to not go out and shoot because the weather is terrible, because these made some of my coolest shots of the whole year, deciding to still go up in the clouds and taking shots of things with full of fog. My 9th shot is actually one that I took back when I came back here and at my cottage, and it's one that I took early in the morning because I knew there were going to be mist. And I really like this shot because the mist really helps separating the trees with the nice color in the background, the rock in the midground, and the water in the foreground. I also really like here the calm water, but it's just not calm enough to have the nice little wrinkles that really help show that there's actually water in the front. It's not just a mirror or something like that that's doing the reflection. So I really like this nice simple shot of the autumn. And if you want to learn more about these shots and how I took them, I actually have a whole video that talks about it, so I can put the link right up top here. So this is my 10th and last shot here. It's actually one that I took a few weeks after the previous one. And it's again a shot that I took early in the morning because I wanted to get the mist around, but I went out to take landscapes. I wasn't planning to take this shot at all. Actually, the canoe just came out of nowhere and I just took my camera, grabbed a few shots, and this turned out pretty well. I'm actually really happy here with the fog because it made the whole background disappear, so you don't see the cottages, you don't see the trees too much, you don't see all this distraction, and your eye is drawn directly onto the canoe in the middle of the mist. One thing I did change on this picture that actually made a huge difference is that the color here, if we go back to the original one, are actually pretty bluish, so more a colder temperature of the picture. But I liked the more warmer ones because that's actually what I was feeling in the morning. So when I was outside, the sun was rising, so all the colors around were more yellow and warmer, and that's what I was feeling, so that's what I tried to replicate here. I think it's time to end this video. It's already dark outside. I didn't realize it was going down so quickly. So thanks for listening to this video. I hope you learned that the best shots are the ones that bring back memory, not necessarily the one with the perfect composition with less noise or whatever other technical aspect in photography. If you want to see my best shots this year, I'm going to have a link below with an album with about 100 pictures that are the best ones I took this year. And also, if you want to learn more about filmmaking or photography, be sure to subscribe below and hit the like button to let me know that you like this video. See you next year for more videos.